It's weird that people have spent thousands of dollars, traveled internationally to come to Japan, and the only thing they really want to do is go to the convenience store. And yeah, that's an exaggeration. I know there are other things people want to do in Japan. Check out Tokyo Tower, look at Shibuya Crossing, eat this chicken from another convenience store. But like generally, a big thing that every person in Japan wants to do, especially when they're visiting Japan for a short period of time, is hit up a damn convenience store. And everyone has a preference on which convenience store is better, but when it comes down to it, where did it all begin? What began the convenience store craze? On May 15th, 1974, the first convenience store in Japan opened. Well, it wasn't the first convenience store in Japan, but it was the first convenience store that set the blueprint, set the base for convenience stores in Japan as we know them today. And it was a humble 7-Eleven. This single 7-Eleven pioneered a national and then eventually an international obsession. And this obsession requires just a little bit of respect. That's why I traveled all the way to Toyosu Station in Tokyo to check out the location of the first convenience store ever in Japan. Yes, the convenience store is still there. It looks very different to what it looked like back in the 1970s, but it is still standing and it is still a 7-Eleven. In entering the store, you'll realize something very quickly. If you didn't know this was the first 7-Eleven ever made in Japan, you would have no idea. There's no obvious signs, no obvious plaques, no special memorabilia for it being the first store. It's just continued chugging along as a 7-Eleven for the last 50 years or so now. And you gotta respect that just a little bit. But how did 7-Eleven start here in Toyosu Station? Part of Tokyo's Koto Ward, Toyosu is known for being a very family-friendly area. It's also got a lot of damn businesses in the same area. Depending if you go left or right at the station, you can end up in the most residential street you've ever seen in your entire life, or big city business Tokyo. It's a very interesting juxtaposition to be walking around in. At the moment, it is kind of a minor tourist hotspot just because the new Tsukiji fish market has been relocated to Toyosu. There's also some really nice parks and stuff in the area, so you do occasionally see a bunch of internationals traveling around, but generally, it's not really an area you'll bump into many tourists. You will bump into 1,000 people from 1,000 different walks of life though. Toyosu is a very interesting station. You have families going on food runs, you have men going to meetings, you have oba-chans on mamacharis. It's one of the strangest areas that I've had the pleasure of walking around. It's worth a quick walk around if you are in Tokyo, but if you can't make it, it's not worth like changing your entire holiday plans for. But let's go back in time 50 years and introduce the main character of our story, a Mr. Kenji Yamamoto. Now, Mr. Yamamoto is the spark behind Japan's modern day konbini revolution. He saw the location in Toyosu and decided it needed something a little more convenient.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
At only 24 years old, Yamamoto decided to change his family liquor store into something completely new. The vision was to create something similar to a grocery store, but not a grocery store. While it would have the essentials, it will also have other daily household items that one might need that they can't normally find at a traditional grocery store. Also, to make the store a little more convenient, he decided the store needed to be opened longer than a traditional grocery store. Yamamoto had no idea that this small innovation would lead to something absolutely industry changing. This was the start of not only modern day convenience stores in Japan, it was also a massive cultural shift for Japan. For those that don't know, 7-Eleven isn't actually a Japanese brand. It actually started in 1927 in Dallas, Texas. But for those who visit Japan, it wouldn't be a surprise to think that 7-Eleven was a Japanese brand. I myself have been to America before, but I'd never seen a 7-Eleven. I wasn't in regions that just had them, and I never really connected them to America, if that makes sense. So when I first came to visit and live in Japan, I was like, yeah, 7-Andai Holdings, Japanese brands. Makes perfect sense to me. It was actually only years later that I realized 7-Eleven was actually an American brand. But it does make sense. I think Japan has more 7-Elevens than any other country in the world. It's fucking ridiculous. Japan's tiny. Where are you fitting all these 7-Elevens? After the first 7-Eleven was established, they rapidly started to change things about the store. Fundamental things that weren't seen in other parts of Japan just yet. In 1975, they went from a normal convenience store opening 9 to 5 to a 24-hour store.
もしもし、俺だ。 お買い物お願いね。ラララララ。セブンイレブンいい気分。
空いててよかった。
In current day Japan, that doesn't really sound too spectacular. Yeah, the convenience stores open 24/7. What convenience store isn't open 24/7? Currently in Japan, finding a convenience store that closes is actually rarer than finding a convenience store that's open 24 hours a day. But back in 1975, that was a crazy idea. What do you mean you're never going to close the store? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? It blew people's minds. This started a kind of revolution for the industry, a business that was 100% focused on the convenience of the customers. Truly Japan's first convenience store. But it didn't just stop there. You can't just slap on 24 hours onto a store and say, we're now the most ultimate convenience store in Japan. No, that's too easily copied. There are going to be other stores who are also coming for 7-Eleven's crown. The developments didn't stop there. A 24-hour grocery store back in 1975 was already insane, but Yamamoto had some more things up his sleeve. In 1978 and 1979, two new staples entered the convenience stores, staples that you all know at home. In 1978, the humble onigiri made its way onto the shelves at 7-Eleven, a staple item seen even today at the convenience store.
These donuts are great! Jelly-filled are my favorite!
And then in 1979, the workers' man staple, the oden, made its way to 7-Eleven shelves. 7-Eleven shelves? I guess like behind the counter?
世の中におでんはいろいろあるけれど、あなたはきっとこの味に帰ってくる。
おかえりなさい。
セブンイレブンのおでん。
セブンイレブンいい気分。
Onigiri and oden, those are staples. You see them in every single convenience store in Japan. I have seen convenience stores literally across the road from each other, and both of them are selling said convenience store name brand onigiri and oden. Should there not be a proximity where one decides, okay, we're a bit too close to the place next door, let's not sell the oden because they're also selling literally the exact same fucking oden, but the demand for oden in the wintertime is just that great. To be fair, it probably is just that great, honestly. The introduction of the onigiri and the oden was actually a massive step away from the staples the 7-Eleven was first stocking when it opened back in 1974. In 1974, when the 7-Eleven opened, they were stocking, of course, classic green grocer goods, fruits and vegetables, and then also the most popular items you'd find in a supermarket, household appliances, and then for some reason, sunglasses. Surprisingly, sunglasses were actually the first item ever sold out of a 7-Eleven in Japan in 1974. In current day Japan, you will see onigiri at every single convenience store and supermarket in Japan. But back in 1978, when 7-Eleven introduced the onigiri, they were the first convenience store to do so. It was actually game-changing. Up until then, an onigiri was something you'd make at home. It wasn't something you'd go out and buy. But this changed everything. And that, my friends, was the beginning of the arms race. Every single convenience store in Japan, not only 7-Eleven, but every single convenience store in Japan began to try and carve out a niche for themselves. And thus began the great service boom of the 1980s and 1990s. During the 1980s and 1990s, 7-Eleven decided to become a one-stop shop for all of your errands. They started handling parcel deliveries, utility bills, they installed an ATM and a fax machine in the little fax machine ATM corner, they installed bathrooms. The vision was genius. Become a one-stop shop for every single common errand needed to be done for customers, and it worked. It worked stupidly well. It is crazy to think that convenience stores are so good at what they do. They are actually sometimes better than the supposed experts in the field. Take banks, for example. The big famous bank in Japan is Yucho. Yucho is a bank account that every single Japanese person has. It's the first bank that the majority of internationals who come to Japan make, and it's the first bank that most parents make for their children. However, this bank is notoriously dogshit. I mean, terrible. Their systems are outdated. It doesn't really work well when transferring money overseas. You can't normally take money out of their ATMs with an international bank card. I've been using Yucho for almost 10 years now, so I can say with confidence, they're a terrible, terrible system to bank with. But let's look at 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven have their own little ATM machines. They're little 7 Andai Holdings machines. Those 7-Eleven ATMs, you can take out money with your international bank cards or credit cards with those ATMs. This is a convenience store. This is a place I buy beer at 3 a.m. Why are y'all doing international banking? It doesn't compute, it doesn't make sense. However, the established Japanese bank systems, sometimes you can't open a bank account with them because your name is too long. I'm not even joking. I've had friends who couldn't open a bank account in Japan with their full name. But yet, they could take their international debit card, go across the road to 7-Eleven, and take out as much money as they want. But 7-Eleven isn't the only convenience store in the convenience store game. Of course, 7-Eleven is probably the most popular convenience store in Japan, and it certainly is my favorite convenience store. It's not everyone's favorite. You got Family Mart, you got Lawson, you got the one that's up in Hokkaido, Seiko Mart, you got the one that everyone forgets. I'll put a picture of it here. Everyone's favorite convenience store is just a little bit different. And also, you should take this time to write a comment down below to let me know what is your favorite convenience store. And if it's not 7-Eleven, I need you to defend your choice with vigor, because if it's not 7-Eleven or the one up in Hokkaido, you're probably wrong. You're just probably wrong. While I am messing around saying that 7-Eleven is Japan's favorite convenience store, Japan's favorite convenience store is actually most probably Family Mart. Family Mart is a homegrown Japanese convenience store. It has the home court advantage. It is favorited by most Japanese people, closely followed in second place by 7-Eleven. And recently, Family Mart has been releasing a line of just the most culturally significant convenience store merchandise you've ever seen in your entire life. Socks, t-shirts, armbands, everything they released was amazing. And it really pushed the awareness for Family Mart way up in the rankings, both for domestic and also international travelers to Japan. And as much as I love 7-Eleven, their blatant ripoff of Family Mart merchandise was just not cutting it. Look at the Family Mart one. Now look what 7-Eleven tried to release. It's disgraceful. Family Mart does have the second highest number of branches scattered all throughout Japan, but Family Mart actually started in Saitama around 1973. That's right, a year before 7-Eleven. It stayed locked in Saitama for a really long time until eventually franchising out to Chiba Prefecture back in August of 1978. Lawson for some reason followed an entirely different route on the path to becoming an established convenience store. Lawson stayed well away from Tokyo and decided to start its adventure in 1975 in a little prefecture called Osaka. Lawson established itself on a completely different path, and it's now known for having delicious breads and baked goods. It also has a weird healthy spin-off of Lawson called Natural Lawson. And Natural Lawson is kind of a healthier alternative to convenience store snacks. You've got healthier snacks, healthier items, and more like natural products and goods. If you were craving a healthy snack in Japan and there was only convenience stores around you, I would honestly suggest going to Natural Lawson. They do have some really good stuff in there. But it is a little more expensive than your average convenience store scran. 7-Eleven Japan's convenient concept was actually taken from America, where the store originated. And while America did originate the concept of being aggressively customer first, Japan just did it a little bit better, and Japan very quickly became a leader in the space. 7-Eleven America is actually looking towards 7-Eleven Japan to help America improve their convenience stores. For my American watchers, I'm pretty sure you know that your convenience stores are not that good. When I was in Seattle for work and I did get a chance to peek inside one of the convenience stores, let me tell you, I would never walk in there. They're not good. They're really bad. The base USA model works so much better here in Japan. Japanese convenience stores are more focused on convenience and also community. And because of that, konbinis or convenience stores have become just way more of a staple here in Japan. Locations in America have kind of skewered off the path of convenience and community and are now focusing on a more profit-driven model. Cheap snacks, quick profits, food that is completely filled with preservatives, this is now the base model for American convenience stores. Taking a look at their Japanese counterparts once again, Japanese convenience store foods are delivered daily, normally freshly made, and normally have some kind of nutritious backing to them. The absolutely massive food network that Japanese stores have created in order to deliver fresh food to the stores daily is insane. It would put some manufacturing firms in the US to shame. And I'm a convenience store lover. If I need a quick healthy snack, I'll grab it from the convenience store. Want a quick bevy with the boys? I'll grab it from the convenience store. But if you're visiting Japan, maybe don't rely on the convenience store too much. The convenience store is great for a quick breakfast, a quick snack, a quick lunch on your trip around Japan, but it shouldn't be your go-to option for every single meal. Japan has the most insane amount of food choice, and I'm not talking about just traditional Japanese foods. Great Indian curry, Nepalese food, Mongolian stuff, African, Jamaican, Caribbean. There is a lot of different foods one can get while traveling in Japan. And on busy days, I get it, one can't be standing in line for 3 hours to eat one mid-bowl of udon from TikTok famous location, and honestly, you shouldn't be doing that. But don't always rely on the convenience store. There are a lot of really good places you can eat in Japan. The convenience store, when it comes down to it, is, you know, it's just convenient.
No future!
Convenience is a very important part of running a convenience store. It's in the damn name. Convenience alone isn't enough to keep a franchise alive. A convenience store in Japan must also be a part of the community. Back in the 90s, the Franchise Association launched a regional safety station campaign. This campaign was to combat the then recent string of violent attacks that were happening towards women and children in Japan. The campaign is actually still active today, and it went from a regional campaign to a national campaign in 2005. The very same safety campaign actually supports seniors with dementia, prevents youth crime, and does an awful lot for local communities. Even during the corona pandemic, a variety of hot meal options are being launched for remote workers who otherwise wouldn't have access to hot meals. Convenience stores also provided essential disaster aid relief to the 2011 earthquake and tsunami. You've got to remember, these convenience stores, while convenient, while 24/7, while an amazing place to pick up a tamago sando and a cheap bevy, they're also pillars of the community. And considering there are over 55,000 convenience stores in Japan, earning up to $11.8 trillion for the economy every year, I don't think these convenience stores are going anywhere anytime soon. Whether you like them or not, convenience stores are now an intrinsic part of Japanese culture. It's right up there with Mount Fuji, geisha, sumos, and Tokyo Tower. So if you're in Japan and you want to check out a convenience store, go for it. And if someone tells you that's not a good way to spend your time in Japan, point them to this video and I'll explain to them that convenience stores are an integral part of Japanese culture and the community. Guys, thank you for watching this video, and if you've got some extra time, I got another video for you right here. It's about how rice almost destroyed the entirety of Japan. But guys, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you've not subscribed already, and I'll see you in the next one. See you.